it! Get a grip! This stupid video I just showed you! I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show! It's donkey! You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State, it's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. It is Wednesday of Blue and Gold Week. Where's Pat Cotter? I think he's trying to get into the Masters. I texted him the other day saying, what's your deal? He was traveling, he was golfing, and he was trying to get into the Masters. So I think he's in Augusta. He ain't going to be at the Blue and Gold game. We talked about it the other day, the priority, and if I was going to, if I would rather go to a tailgate or go to the Masters. I really can't blame Pat. Him and his brother trying to get in. Brian J. Irish, recruiting is heating up. I thought we weren't going to overreact. Listen, you got to understand how this business works. When you get a big recruit, you have a commit. You have an obligation to report on that. But every video I've done on it, right after I say, I like that this kid committed to Notre Dame, the next thing out of my mouth is, you better hope he sticks. So you have a content obligation to write about it and to cover it. But in the past, it was like, what's the offense going to look like with Deuce Knight? And now it's, I'll worry about all that once we get the digital sign print or whatever. In the old days, remember the old days? If you're an old boy like me, you used to sit there and wait for the old fax machine to crank that piece of paper through, baby. So I'm just saying, you have an obligation when you're doing content to put a catchy title or a catchy name to get people to want to watch your video. You have an obligation to do that when you get a verbal commitment. But the next sentence out of my mouth is, talk to me when they sign. Talk to me when they sign. So welcome in, welcome back, folks. We got some recruiting stuff popping, and people expect more of that tomorrow to continue. And I want to hear, this is really interesting, what you're open to see, what you expect to see, what you don't think you're going to see and get out of the Blue and Gold game. Extremely limited format, extremely fast-paced format because the staff just wants to get through it. No dividing up of the teams, just offense, defense. Very limited roster. I don't know what you're going to get. I don't know how much value there's going to be in it. We got to understand this is a gift to us for entertainment purposes. The staff has all these other data points and things that they take way more seriously than us. But as a fan, you have no choice but to react to the only part you see, which is going to be limited. So I don't know where that leaves. I don't know where that leaves the reality of this. So I don't know. I don't know what you're open to see. I don't know what you think you're going to get. But it's really interesting, and I have some thoughts on that. So obviously, thanks for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps John out as well. Notifications. That way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want it. You can get it. Don't want to see my face. Nobody in America blames you for that. Woof. But this girlfriend. Call-in lines, 312-988-15. Dialed up, tell Uncle Yanni Boy all you've heard and seen. Notre Dame Fighting Irish, brought to you by SI Read All About it, Patreon.com/Always Irish. Can't wait to see everybody. Can't wait to see everybody. Friday night, I'll be out on the town, so to speak, causing trouble. Saturday morning, tailgate. After the game, linebacker lounge. Me and Goolsby, we're going to have a little something set up, probably in the tent there. And we're going to talk about Notre Dame spring ball for a little bit. And you're all invited. So thanks for being there ahead of time. Brian says, I feel like there's going to be a roster full of walk-ons in the blue and gold game, especially at O-line. I don't listen, man. I just don't know how much you're going to get done. It's all, you look to this as a fan because it's the most information you're going to get. And it's just not going to be a lot, I don't think. So I got some bullet points of some things that I specifically want to look for. Let's hit a couple callers. I'm going to get to you early. Let me go over the recruiting piece of this. We'll do the calls. I'll come back to my list in a couple of these super chats and the early comments, and we'll do this. So here's the deal. There's not going to be a show Friday morning. I'm going to be driving to Notre Dame. So we're not going to have a show Friday morning. I got back in my routine after Florida. Now I'm going to be kind of out of it. Ryan says, I'm thinking about running that marathon Saturday morning. Anybody want to join me? Nope. But I encourage everybody who wants to do that to do it, but it ain't going to be me. No show Friday because we're going to be driving over to South Bend. So then tomorrow night, Rodney Dunham is announcing, I think it's like 4 Eastern, 3 my time. Allegedly, top 10 player in most services, regardless of position, could add to the building defensive line haul. We will cover that announcement tomorrow. If it goes Notre Dame's way, obviously. The show could just be a camera on John as he drives through traffic. I do not do well with that. I do not do well with traffic. It's a big part of the reason I moved away from the big city lights of Chicago. I couldn't handle it. I don't have the patience. Everybody's stupid. They're all on their phone. Nobody's paying attention. They're all looking down on their stupid Facebook or TikTok or whatever. Drive. So I don't like that with the traffic. Big reason I moved out of the city. I don't have the patience for it. People are getting worse at driving. You ever notice Tom Frawley? It's good to see you, buddy. I hope you're feeling better. Text me and let me know if you're going to be able to get to the game. And so, yeah, I don't do the traffic thing well. How far do I push this? There has not been a concert where I'm there for the encore. Are you out of your mind? You think I'm going to go to a concert with 80,000 drunk and high people and then wait in a traffic jam for 3 hours with all those people high and drunk to get out of a concert? You're out of your mind. Not for me, man. Not my idea of a fun night. So I go to a concert, and when they start getting to that encore, man, I'm either by the door, or if it's an outside venue, I'm already outside and I can hear the music while I'm getting in my car. I'm the first one out of there. I don't have the patience to sit in a parking lot for 3 hours. I can't do it. That's another reason I don't do the stadium lot for real games. Bro, I did the stadium lot for the Stanford 2012 game. Remember the goal line stand and all that. I did the stadium. Somebody gave me a pass for the stadium lot for that game in 2012. Pat was there, my brother, the whole family, mom and dad, the whole thing. It was great and we won or whatever. I could have camped out in the parking lot. Son of a buck. What is the point of having this awesome pass to be able to park all close, but you're there 3 hours to get out? And you couldn't leave that early. The game went into overtime. So what do you 2.5 hours later, I'm leaving the parking lot. Are you kidding me? No. You got to tailgate an hour or so after games. That's another good idea. But then you got to make sure somebody's not drinking the whole time, and then you are, and then you're on the road, and then you got to pee the whole way home, and it's a whole thing. But I don't do I can't do the traffic, man. When I used to live in the way north of Chicago and then have to drive all through the city to get back home where I'm from, I would leave at like midnight. I would rather leave at midnight or like 4 a.m. than a normal time where there's people. Traffic is a waste of your life. And here's the other thing about this. Pay attention to that. I notice it every day. The next time there's a car in front of you and you're frustrated that they're not driving right, they're going too slow, they're not going right on red. Oh, that's the other one. You ever see these people that refuse to turn right on red? There may be no other driving infraction that makes me more mad than somebody who doesn't realize, or what do you just can't take the risk to turn right on red. What do you? I don't like people that won't turn right on red. Manage. Watch this. Check this. I'm putting it in your head. You'll never forget it. The next time there's a car in front of you and you're all mad about how they're driving, I guarantee you don't see their head above the driver's seat. It's a scientific fact. Just watch. The next time you're like mad, somebody's going like 30 when they could go 50, or they're driving. I guarantee you're mad at them and you can't even see their head above the driver's seat. What is it? Short people can't drive. Every single time I'm mad at somebody for going like 10 miles an hour, you can't see their head above the driver's seat. I'm telling you, it's a fact. Notice it next time. Notice it. Notice it. That right on red thing kills me, bro. Patience is a virtue. Yeah, one I don't have. I have some other ones to make up for, but that ain't one. I literally will leave concerts early to avoid the traffic. I can't physically handle just sitting there. It's just a waste of your life, man. And in Chicago now, there used to be rush hours that were defined, a couple hours in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you knew when it was. It's all the time now. There's no off time. It's all the time now. All the time. Old people rule. I like old people a lot. I have a lot more in common values-wise with older people in the way I see the world than I do a lot of younger people. But I don't like the way they drive. The end of the concert is always the best song, so I understand that. And you got to make a choice. You got to make a choice. The outside venues are best because you can already be in the parking lot and hear the encore when you're walking to your car at like an outdoor amphitheater or whatever. That 411 grandma doesn't like you either, Johnny. She doesn't even notice I'm there. Are you out of your mind, Dodgers? What do you guys drive in California now? Spaceships? Anyways, that's the traffic driving thing. Sorry about that. But you guys, it set me off. So the recruiting thing, back to Dunham, supposed to announce top 10 player in the whole country. Everybody likes him, whatever. Could add to that defensive line haul. A little birdie tells me expect a lot more good recruiting news to be coming soon. We're going to see whether that's accurate or not. I don't know if it is or not, but I've been informed to expect some good news for like the next month. So we'll see if that comes to fruition or not. Let's importantly also acknowledge, John leaves movies early. That's another battle I've faced. The movie theaters where you now get to reserve your seat. And then I go to the movie the last 2 times and there's people in the seats I reserved. And then I got to be the bad guy that makes a big deal when I'm like, you're in my seat. And they're like, no, I'm not. This is the seat I bought. No, it isn't, because it's the one I bought. And you can see on my phone the seats here, and then they won't show it to me. So that whole thing is a problem too, because then I either need to let that rude person win and go sit in the front row and crank my neck, or I got to be a little biatch and go to the front counter and complain and make a big deal, and then that turns into a big thing. So the going to the movies thing's ruined too. I hear Notre Dame feels like they're in good shape for the Clapper. That's something I've been told. Again, I don't believe anything in recruiting anymore. But I have been. You can always ask for the usher. I know, but like I don't want to cause a scene. But it's so morally bankrupt that you get to pick your own seat and then you get there and you steal somebody else's they picked when you know that's not the one it's just, but then I don't want to be the bad guy and everybody's looking at me and I'm a Karen, but they're in the wrong. I don't like being put in this position. Anything else I could get mad about early in the day? Feel free to let me know. So a little birdie tells me other good recruiting news is about to come. We'll see what happens. And then here's something else to keep in mind on the negative side. Goolsby keeps bringing it up. It's a very, very fair point. He keeps saying, why are all the times we get excited about a top recruit? It's on defense. You got to start making these splashes with skill guys on the offensive side of the ball. I'll give you guys this. The pineapple doesn't belong on pizza. Yeah, nothing belongs on pizza other than cheese, ronies, and a sausage. Surprisingly, I will actually eat a piece of pineapple. If you chop that thing up, I'll eat a piece of pineapple. I think that tastes good. I'll do that, but I don't know why you got to ruin a perfectly good cheese pizza by doing that. There's no need. There's absolutely no need other than you wanting to be the guy that says you're the guy that likes that on a pizza to do it. There's just no reason. There's no reason at all. You're going to ruin two things that are perfectly fine when they stand alone. I don't know if I've ever had a pierogi. What is it? Is it meat? Can I just get the meat and the bread? I'm bringing you a mushroom pizza. Well, you're going to have a lot left over, Nikki Dean. You love to be heard and seen, and you're going to be eating that pizza. I hope you're hungry. So John wouldn't want the pickle pizza from the Indiana State Fair. I'm telling you, that sounds like the most Indiana State Fair type thing I could ever imagine. I don't think I've ever actually had a pierogi. I don't even know what's on that. Can I just get, I went to Philly and I had a cheesesteak and it was beautiful because it was bread, meat, and cheese. I didn't get anything else on it and it was just fine for me, man. Just fine for me. So Goolsby keeps bringing up, you got to start landing some of these splashes on the offensive side and get that going. And I'm with you. That's something to keep in mind. It really does kind of feel like the new group recruiting operation was a little behind, had to settle in, and now they're getting kind of off and running. That is kind of my interpretation of what's going on with the little kind of delay and all that. And so I don't know. We'll see. But I've been told good news is coming and more good news is coming after that. So I don't know what to make of it. Hope the guys stick. This new recruiting operation is about business. It's about business. It's not about, we got a 5-star in town. Better dress up in John's Halloween leprechaun outfit. That'll impress this 5-star getting offers for millions of dollars. This group's more about business. And honestly, this program could justify operating more about business after what they did last year. So I like that. I'm fine with that. All right. I got through that recruiting piece, couple chats, then we'll go to the calls, then I'll get into what I'm looking for blue and gold, okay? So callers, hang with me. There's a couple good ones early. And then I'm probably going to have to end the show a little early today. I got a lot of things to get coordinated and lined up to get to South Bend. All the tailgate stuff, all of the technology and the stuff I need to try and do the live show. I just have stuff I got to do. So let's get into this. Domer guy. Freeman can't let the worry of players jumping in the portal affect the QB decision. It's Miami week 1. You got to play your boy from the rip. Yeah, I think that's fair perspective. You just got to have the right guy. The whole discussion around all that is you got to pick the right guy, or the right guy has to emerge. Like somebody, you just can't have it where it's an equal 3-way race and you double down on the wrong guy. Like that's the nightmare here. None of these guys emerge as the clear guy. You got to name a guy, and then you find out you picked the wrong guy and the right guy's gone. You can't do that. So, I'm with you, but you got to make sure it's the right guy. It's not like he's going to say, okay, Card Minchie, I'm going to play. You can't. I'm uncomfortable with the idea of you can run with Steve Angeli for Miami because you need experience. Then you go to a younger guy after that. I just think you're asking for things to get complicated. I really feel like you're asking for things to get complicated because if things go bad and you do that, where do you draw the line? And then if things go good, then the other guys aren't going to play. It just seems complicated. It'd be ideal if you could have one guy and just run with it. So I don't know. Let's see where one of these clowns claims Notre Dame's a favorite to land one of the most dynamic playmakers in the cycle. I look into it, and the guy's number 98 receiver in the class. I don't remember whether it was Patreon or here, but I recently, within a few days, went off saying it annoys me when every time any school gets a verbal commitment from anyone, the headline says huge news. Whatever school lands this guy. Like every single time it's huge or boom or like, oh, huge update, breaking big news or whatever. No, it can't be true for every recruit that it's a big deal they sign. It just can't be. But you got to understand the business. If you cover a certain school, you want to instill positivity. And when a recruit decides to commit to your school, you want to give it a chance and look at the bright side. And you also are thinking about that kid and that family being in your ecosystem. And if the first day he joins your school, the article says, 2-star, nobody wide receiver joins class, won't make any difference. That's like, so you got to understand how the media has to do all this. But it is disingenuous because it can't be huge every single time anybody commits to anybody. But on Twitter, that's all you see. You never see where it just says this guy is committing to it's always the tag is huge news or like big break in recruiting news. Can't always be true, but I understand why they got to play the game. Andrew, to me, the QB competition's bizarre. Despite having 3 good prospects, there's no buzz. How, after 10 practices, you don't have a pecking order? I hope we have some clarity by Sunday. I don't know if you're going to get it. I don't know. We'll get into that. I don't know if you're going to get it or not. I don't know. Maybe there's more clarity than we realize, but we're not privy to it. Obviously, the staff has way more data and information than we have access to. And if that wasn't the case, something would be wrong. Maybe they're further along on this than we realize, but they want to go through the summer with this looking like it's still a 3-way thing, and that's all a part of the bit and a part of the game here. I don't know that. Maybe with all of the limited personnel and the limited reps divided up 3 ways this spring, maybe there literally just isn't enough activity divided up with the right guys to be able to appropriately judge things. I don't know if that's true or not. The O-line situation, much more volatile than I thought. The Gerby injury complicates things. I guess Absher's the next man up. Here's the other thing. One of the big things all offseason has been, well, at least you're going to have a really good O-line and you're going to be able to get that going. And you got guys you could slot in different places, like a tackle might have to scoot into guard, give us the best lineup, whatever you're going to do. Now you got to worry about that too. It never ends here, man. It never ends. I'm concerned that if Carr is not at least a backup, he may go to the portal. I'm concerned that if he's in third, after all this hype, if he's in third place, maybe he needs to go to the portal. Like, follow me here, Nick. I'm not trying to be negative. I want Carr to be great. I want all the hype to be true. I want him to shove it to Michigan by doing good things in Notre Dame. I want all that. But if he's clearly ends up dead last in this race, I don't know what that tells you unless you totally don't believe in the staff's evaluation at all. You don't believe in Gino and his experience at all looking at quarterbacks. You don't believe Denbrock, 40 years doing this, knowing what offensive talent looks like and what you need. So, I mean, geez, if he's third without those guys looking at all this and he ends up third, maybe he should go to the portal. I want him to be great, but it's like, I hope this isn't coming off the wrong way, but like, I don't know. Something's got to give. $10 holler from the commander. Hope the weather's like this. It's cloudy and cold here. Are you the only one in your family with red hair? Grandpa Kennedy had red hair. And so I don't know why my dad didn't get it or whatever. That's where it comes from. Grandpa Kennedy had the red hair. My whole life I knew him. It was white because he was old. But when he was younger, he had red hair. My brother's is a little darker, but still got a tinge of red in the sun. Look at this. Ryan. Finally got the day off going beer shopping after the show. What is that, a full day affair for you or what? You're acting like you got to clear your calendar. Clear your schedule. John, pizza is no sauce or cheese, so just bread, really. I got to tell you, in the dining hall in college, they had like this late night thing where you could make your own pizzas and you get the dough. I don't know what kind. You put some sort of oil in there and Parmesan cheese, the little crumbs, you put that on there. You run it through that little toaster oven thing. Ooh, baby, you're cooking. You don't need nothing else. You don't need a bunch of ketchup squirted on there. Nothing. Nothing can ruin a perfectly good pizza faster than too much red sauce that is not equally distributed, other than if you put weird ingredients that don't belong on a pizza. Other than the topping part, if you want to ruin a pizza, have an unequal amount of red sauce that overpowers the entire thing. I don't want a smashed up tomato or a bottle of ketchup. Too much. It's got to be equally distributed. You ever bite into it and a whole thing of red jumps out? You ain't doing it right. You ain't doing it right. If you bite into that and it pokes a hole in the cheese and a whole bunch of red squirts out of there like you're in a Vietnam movie, you're doing something wrong. Equally distributed red. Okay? John, thanks for hooking me and Tex ND up. I'm a man of the Irish people, and I will have no problem getting you all together. We're one big, always Irish family. You're great at making connections with the circle. No problem, guys. I'm glad that worked out. Glad it worked out. Let's see. I think it would be a mistake to go with the high floor QB again. We've seen that. It won't get us over the hump. It's Carr Minchie for me. I think I'm starting to kind of be in this camp. I think I'm starting to be in that camp, and I think Notre Dame's got some credibility now. Freeman has some credibility now. Some of the heat is off him of like, is he going to get this thing in the right direction? You proved a lot of that last year. And this program's on solid footing with a solid foundation, a good culture, and should be pretty darn good. Does it not just feel like the time to maybe take a little risk and roll with a higher ceiling guy that may have some learning curve stuff? I don't know. It's interesting. But I'm leaning that way too. I will have so much more excitement for whatever this is going to be, good or bad, if it's one of the young guys. And again, I totally respect Angeli, longtime guy, stuck through a lot at Notre Dame, didn't transfer. I love what he did against Penn State, getting us in position to get on the board late. I love all that. I just don't think the physical ceiling is as high with him as it is the two younger guys. And I just think where this program is at, they can afford to take a risk like that. That's what I think. So I don't know. All right, let's touch base with Dr. John first to get his master's prediction. And then we're going to go to our main man out in California. What's up, Doc?
Well, it won't be me that wins it.
I wasn't.
We started golf yesterday.
I wasn't betting on you, so don't worry about it.
Well, hey, if you want to really have a terrible pizza experience, share one with my oldest daughter. Extra sauce.
Come on. Why? Why?
No cheese, extra sauce.
What?
That's enough of that.
Unbelievable. Wow. That is, that's wild. That's wild, Doc. But then again, I am a weird Irish man with weird tastes. I don't expect the world to bend to my preferences.
Yeah, I know. We all know you have weird tastes. I watched an old movie the other night, and when I open up your website and look at chat, I think of the famous line from Casablanca, round up the usual suspects. They're all there.
I'm telling you.
Car, Fox, Ryan,
Yeah.
Jay, everybody.
It's great, man.
My God.
Doc, I say it all the time. The people we have met doing this is by far the best part about all of this whole Always Irish thing. And every time we meet in person, it gets even better. More people join. The people that know each other bond more. It truly is like a beautiful human experiment, all bonded by this love from Notre Dame, no matter where you're from in the country, whether you went to Notre Dame or you didn't, whatever your story is, everybody belongs, just like the island of misfit kids in Rudolph, okay? It's a beautiful thing.
And we know there's a certain amount of pathology involved here, too.
Yeah, and then there's no judgment. There's no judgment because we're all in the exact same boat. But Doc, that is a big deal to me, that when you're with these people, you don't have to explain this to anyone there. You don't have to try and justify why this whole Notre Dame thing means. Like, it truly is a beautiful thing because everybody just gets it. And there's a comfort there that bonds everybody because we're all in the same boat. And you don't have to justify the Notre Dame thing to anybody because we all know what it means. It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay, quarterback-wise, my bottom line has always been Freeman and Denbrock and I forget the name of the quarterback coach. They're going to pick the guy who they think is going to win for them. And that, to me, is the bottom line. I don't care who it is,
Yeah.
They're going to pick. I understand your excitement with the young guys, but I just put my trust in these guys. Whoever is going to give us the best chance to win, that's who they're going to play.
Yeah. Yeah. I think.
Don't you agree with that?
I mean, I do. It's just, there's a lot of ancillary things that are in fans' heads that I don't know if the staff can even afford themselves to worry about. If you feel like it's Angeli, do you not worry at all about losing the other two younger guys you recruited and want to see? Like, is that not a problem at all? Do you have to consider the early tough schedule, or is that not what you want to do? Like, there's just a lot of ancillary things here to think about. But at the end of it, it's like you hope one of these guys just outplays the other two and the decision's obvious, and then everybody can move along. The time frame, though, Doc, that's what has the fans anxious. I don't think we're going to get an answer this week, which means you're going all through the summer and into the beginning of August camp with this question. And I think that's just going to weigh on the fan base.
Well, I agree with you. There's no answer coming Saturday. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect. Way too limited. It's just going to be this. You could tell the staff just wants to get through this, not have any injuries, and move on because it has been a rough go as far as bodies. And you could tell they just kind of want to get through this thing and moving along.
Yeah, I don't know if they might scratch this game someday. It's kind of like, they do it for us.
Yeah, and it's starting to feel
like they don't need it.
Their big scrimmage that tells them a lot already happened. Like, you know what I mean? They get way more done in the one everybody reported about last week and everything. That's the one that matters more to them. This is more of a gift for us. It's just nobody was figuring half the team would be out with injury. Like, so I don't know.
Well, speaking of Saturday, have you got your backer arrangements made? Can you do it live?
Yeah, and what I'm going to do is when I first get into town, I'm going to run over there and test some things with the setup there to make sure we could get it all going. So that's the plan. And then we're going to get there early Friday morning before they open or whatever and be able to check it out and test things.
Oh, good. That'd be so much fun if you guys can pull that off.
Yeah,
it really will.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and get in there and be able to test things out so that we kind of are in a good place when we arrive.
All right. No Masters prediction. I'll give you my favorites in a minute, but I was at the Masters for one day back in '97, thanks to my well-to-do little brother. Anyway, I put it in chat on Monday, but nobody reacted to it. I'm just, old news now. But anyway, if you remember, Tiger shoots 40 on the front nine that day, and I hadn't seen him until the 10th hole, and we made eye contact, and his career turned around right there. So
that was it.
I take credit for most of it. I didn't get any of the loot, but anyway, I'm not making a prediction, but my two guys that I'd love to win, I'm always for Rory. I don't care how much he's won. And then Morikawa is another guy that I really like, and I'd like to see either one of those guys win it. How about you? Who are you looking at?
Man, I'm telling you, one of these years at Augusta, Rory's going to finish this off. It is the one thing he doesn't have in the sport and desperately wants. He's just got to put it all together and not have one blow up day. But one of these years, it means so much to him. It's the one thing he hasn't had. He's been really, really close and let it slip away. I got to think at some point that guy's going to figure out how to get around this place in one piece and pull it off. I don't know if it's this year, but it's always on my mind. And he's had a pretty good year heading into this. But it means a lot to him. And I got to think a player of that caliber figures it out at some point.
Oh, I would love it. I would absolutely love it. So, there was something else. Oh, is the game going to be on Peacock?
I'm sure it is. Although I got to be honest, I haven't looked into it since I'm going to be there. I'm not worried about it. And then I'll look at it online when I get back. But I think it's on Peacock. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
All right. Well, you have a great time. Say hi to the whole crew that shows up there. I'm going to miss it. I wish I was going to be there, especially wish I was at the backer to buy a beer. So you have a great time, and hi to the usual suspects.
Yeah, we'll try and minimize the trouble, and we'll call you if we need to get bailed out, okay?
All right, bud. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
Have fun.
Yep, enjoy the golf. Take care. Who was it? Outbound says, remember, John, the Wi-Fi works better when there isn't 100 people using it. Yeah, these are all the things that I got to look into, and I got to make sure we have figured out. And then I know there's like a hotspot on your phone you could use. I don't know if that gives you the same juice as regular Wi-Fi, whatever. But I'm going to try and we're going to try and figure it out. 415 and 618 coming up after that. What's going on? Good morning in California.
Good morning, Johnny. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Just getting excited for the trip to South Bend. Just trying to get some things packed and prepared and organized. And I'm just looking forward to getting over there, man. It's always special.
Absolutely. Wish I could be there with you guys. I think, like I said last time, I think it's going to be something to watch more than anything on the field, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's man, I don't think we're going to get a lot of answers from this blue and gold game. I just think look for some athletes making plays and running around. I don't think we're going to get the answers we want. And that's just the way it is. There's just too many physical limitations holding back an ideal spring session to be able to do that. So I have pared back what I'm looking to see.
Absolutely. The expectations should be exactly where they are, which is just to show up, have a good time, maybe see something in some younger guys, and just enjoy it for the atmosphere itself. Other than that, as far as the answers go, there's not going to be too many, if any at all. And that's okay for right now. I don't think we have to have the answers as of right now in April. It'd be nice to know who is going to be actually leading the team offensively or on the flip on the defensive side. But we just got to let those things play out. And I kind of agree with what Dr. John was saying in the beginning, which was, they have an idea. They know what they're going to do. And we just got to trust who they want to put in play. It's just we all have a horse in the game, and so we're kind of rooting maybe one way for the other based upon not likability or anything to that to that nature. It's more of just the idea of who we think is going to be best for the program overall.
Yeah, and the other thing is, man, I've been spending time thinking about this. I'm trying to convince myself that the staff is way further ahead in this project than we realize. Are we sure that's the case? They got to have more data. And then they tell you, oh, yeah, every guy's kind of up and down and every guy's flash and they're all pretty solid, whatever. That's the line. But it's like, I want to believe they're way more down the line of figuring this out than we know. But I'm not 100% sold on that, but I want to think it. Does that make sense? It makes me feel more comfortable to think they have a better idea.
Definitely. We want to believe that, and we should believe that because they're around them more than anybody, right? And that's one of the things, like when McElroy came out and said what he said about Angeli, about the possibility of the second coming of Joe Burrow, it was one of those ones where you got to think about where he's coming from. How many games has he watched? How many times has he been dissecting the recruiting trail or dissecting the different players we have or the possibilities of who's going to be stepping up? And the reality is as this is his job, he's doing it for all 100 plus colleges, but primarily, more than likely, for the SEC, Big Ten, which is his primary focus, right? Not so much Notre Dame. So he kind of sees us over there and he says, oh, that's interesting. Hey, what about that Angeli guy? Well, he doesn't know about all the other details that we know, or the fact of just taking into consideration exactly the point that you brought up of the fact that the coaches are the ones that are with them. So I think that they would see these possibilities of him, kind of coming to fruition and becoming the leader and becoming the guy who we could rely on the field as well as off the field. But if that were the case, then why go get Sam Hartman? Why go get Riley Leonard?
Yeah.
Why keep having this, QB battle?
Yeah.
Right?
And then what do you think about this? Goolsby's talked about this too. Zachary says, I just don't see anybody else paying Steve $250K, which is around what he's making now. That is a number that I've heard as well. And so is Goolsby. So, is that a part of this too? Like, are you going to be the backup at Notre Dame and make $250,000? That's a pretty cushy job. Like, I get that you want to start and whatever, but like, if you don't, and you're making that amount of money, can you get that somewhere else to go be the starter at a lower level place? I don't know, but is that a consideration? I don't know.
John, I will say, if someone were to offer me $250,000 to go and do anything that's a part of Notre Dame at all, let alone be the backup quarterback, I'm in. That's number one.
I get that. Wait. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But if you're one of these kids, man, and your whole life goal you train for is to be the starter and run one of these football teams for a year, yep. I can understand that the competitive nature in you and the frustration of you think you're going to compete and then they bring in a grad guy and he's on the throne right away no matter what. Like, I understand what you're saying, but also if you have that competitive gene and you're like Drew Pine, where you're going to be like 5 different schools every year, going to a different place, finding where you could play, like, I understand if you're so competitive, you would rather go for no money and start somewhere like in Indiana or something. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
And but here's the thing. Each person is their own individual. They have their own wishes, wants, desires, dreams, all that kind of stuff. And so what Drew Pine is searching for in life or in the football field life is going to be different than that of what Angeli or any of these other guys is going to be searching for.
Yeah.
And, you can listen to the interviews that Angeli's been giving, and he talks about how he loves Notre Dame. And this is why we love this kid. It would have been great if he would have just been the guy and just had a little bit more on the field or in practice that would then translate on the field, during game time, because you want to root for someone like this. Wholeheartedly. It's someone who's Notre Dame through and through, but I think for Angeli, that when you listen to the interviews, he talks about how much he loves Notre Dame and how much he wants to be there. And that in conjunction with the fact that he is getting paid $250,000, and that you're absolutely right that maybe other schools are not going to be paying him that to be a backup or possibly step in as the QB number one, then why not stay? But everybody's got to make their own decision with this. And this is the problem with NIL is it keeps dangling these carrots out there. Because what if another school that's not as obviously high profile as a Notre Dame comes in and says, okay, we'll give you $350,000, and to a 21-year-old kid, maybe that's, hey, I'm in, right? You could see some kids doing that. Other kids might not. But it just depends on what it is that each person on an individual basis is striving for and what their priorities are.
Yeah, man, it just feels sometimes I just wonder if we're overthinking everything. You know what I mean? Like just because it's such a big decision that shapes everything, I just wonder if we're overanalyzing everything and it isn't, but you want the answer so bad that you don't have yet. You think of a million different angles or whatever. Like I'm very open to the concept that we are overcomplicating this out of anxiety because we as the fans don't have the answers we want to feel comfortable going into this summer, knowing who your guy is or whatever. Like I'm open to that. Maybe we're overthinking it, but I got to believe that this staff is way further down the line of having comfort with all this than we are.
Yeah, I agree with you on the staff part. And I agree with you that maybe we're overthinking it, but that's also, to be honest with you, John, that's your job. It, like as the host and as us as a fan base, this is our job. Is we don't have the answers because we're not in the film room, we're not in the weight room, we're not on the field.
Yeah.
So we are left to our own devices and our brains and the collective nature of us talking with one another to sit there and come up with these possibilities of who could be starting or what their philosophy is on offense or. Would they possibly have a captain that might not actually be on the field starting, right? And then what does that mean? So the trickle down theory on all of it, and that's what we do, and that's I think it's fun and it's healthy. It's as long as you don't let it consume you to the point where it starts to become a negative in your life.
Yeah,
and this is where these kind of fan bases that like what I see here at Always Irish. Are talking about really the nuts and bolts of it and what we think of it as could be the right fit for us to be successful. And so I think it's a good thing.
Man, it's just I continually come back to the same conclusion. The beginning of August camp's going to be chaotic. You're going to have all that O-line stuff to have to figure out, and then the quarterback thing. Like if you don't get an answer by Saturday. You got a week and a half to figure out who the starter is, and then you're in Miami prep for a week and a half, 2 weeks heading into that game. Like it's just going to be chaos, and we're all going to have to deal with nothing, hopefully some recruiting, but nothing, May, June, July, nothing. And then it's going to be 100 miles an hour with a million things leading into Miami, and we're off to the race. You're literally going to go from 0 to 100.
Yep. And let me give you this perspective. Maybe it's 0 to 100 for us, but it's not for them because they have the idea as to who they're going with. Right.
Yeah.
I just feel like, again, they're more intimate with the situation and they're going to have more of the ideas as to which way they're going and which way they're leaning. They might already know which way they want to go. And they're just waiting for one of them to step up, and take those reins. But for us on the outside, it's like, well, what's happening? Because we haven't heard anything, nor will we.
Yeah.
Who knows when they announce
Well,
it,
listen,
right?
like Freeman's doing the right thing when he says we don't want to name a starter. We want to wait for a guy to become the starter and earn the job. Like, I totally understand like what he means. The danger would be if all three of these guys are pretty equal. That's a red flag to me because there's no way you're going to tell me Notre Dame has 3 guys that are like elite and really, really good, and they're just indistinguishable, and all 3 of them are that good. I don't believe that. I think the odds that we have that in our room and that all 3 of them are such high-level guys you can't decipher between them, I find that to be a stretch. So I think if no one clearly becomes the leader and they just got to pick, I think that's a red flag, man. I need one of these dudes to grab it.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think there will be enough separation there that they're going to see whether, in all facets, whether it's understanding the playbook, the speed on the field, reading the defenses, being able to do checkdowns. I think all those different things are going to kind of come together, and it won't be just one thing, but it'll be a multitude of things that, it gives you something on the other side of the equal sign that makes you go, okay, that's our person, and then they move forward. If it is like that tight between the 3 of them where they're like, man, we could go any which way, that's more problematic.
Yeah.
That's harder for them, because then they're going to also be second guessing themselves come week 1 in Miami, right? Because if something starts going awry, well, should we have gone with Minchie, who has the legs to get out of those situations and get a first down, right? The way Riley Leonard might have, or should we have gone with Angeli, who has a little bit more of that quote unquote experience, of in-game experience and been around the program a little bit longer? Or should we have gone with Carr, who might have been that spark and can throw the ball on a dart? I mean, it's just, you could see them, second guessing if it is that close. But this is just, my humble opinion, and everybody's entitled to their own. I just don't feel it's going to be that. I feel like there's going to be enough separation for them to sit there and go, okay, we know who we're going with. We understand what it's going to be, whether it's going to be Carr and Jelly and then Minchie, or whether it's going to be Minchie and Jelly, or whatever the order is.
Yeah,
it's just the idea that they have to make that decision.
Here's the other thing that I'm not believing. I've seen some people say they're going to run this all the way into Miami and try and not name a starter right until the game to mess with Miami. Don't you think even if you wanted to do that, news would get out? And the reason I'm saying that is, when you get that close to the season, you can't divide the reps out 3 ways with the ones equally. That's just not practical. You get what I mean? Like, somebody's going to, even from the national media, when they get to start be letting in for fall camp, they let some national guys in. They're not going to protect Notre Dame. So, you're not going to be able to have all the ones divide up the reps or whatever a week before you play Miami and then surprise that. I don't think that's very realistic, because you got to get more of the reps and everything with the ones you can when you're that close. So I don't think that's in the cards.
Hey, John, let me say something else to that effect. And this is what gets me kind of fired up, is the mentality that you're going into the game and into the season with, that you feel like we are on that same level where we need to play these mind games of, we don't know who our starting quarterback is going to be, or we don't know, you know what I mean? To get in their heads, it's like, name a starter, get on the plane, go down there and kick their tails.
Yeah.
And let them know that you're coming. Yeah, we're going with Carr. Yeah, we're going with Angeli. Yeah, we're going with Minchie. Whoever it is, this is who we're coming with. And you better get ready, because we're going to push you all around. We shouldn't have to play this kind of hesitant, in a way, this is the way I feel about it, is like this hesitant, scared game of, well, don't show them all your cards. This is not poker. This is straight up football.
Yeah.
We are going to come in here. We're going to put everything on the field. We're coming in. You're going to see exactly who we are. And we're not going to tell you our plays, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to, come in and push you around and win the game, and have that mentality of that.
Yeah. I'm with you. It's just, I don't want to overthink it, but when I don't have the answers, I think of a million different angles and whatever. So maybe one of these guys jumps out of the pack Saturday and looks really obviously better in the limited reps they're going to get with a walk-on O-line and whoever's going to be available, whatever. Maybe we get some of those answers. Maybe we don't. I'm just excited to see some gold helmets run around. Hopefully nobody gets injured. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for touching base as always.
Yeah, John, I would just say, just to wrap that up, I just think change is needed now. I think the emphasis on the change for today is going to be what translates for the future success. And looking at the schedules that are set, that they don't have like obviously the full 12 games, but you can go to FBS scheduling and see who Notre Dame's playing all the way up until like 2033 or something like that. Like it'll go like 8 or 10 years ahead. And when you start looking at who is going to be on the docket and who we're going to be playing, the big boys are coming and we need to get ready. We're going to be playing against Alabama, Texas, like these schools that are, that are in the hunt for the championship every single year. We're going to be playing against obviously the Clemsons and Florida States and Miamis, but we're adding on a lot more schools. We're just kind of starting it up with Texas A&M, but it's going to start getting pretty gnarly. At some point we go to Florida. I mean, I just want to start making those changes now within the program and showing the recruits and showing the young kids out there that if you come to South Bend, we are going to switch it up and have a more of a dominant offense that's going down the field, or at least something that's a little bit more, kind of diverse in that sense. Where we're always going to be kind of that smash mouth, run game and play smash mouth defense and stop you on that kind of side. But we could go down the field as well. Yeah, and because that's how the recruiting is going to change. So getting ready for those teams that are coming in that we're going to have to play and go on the road. Yeah, I'd like to see that kind of change happening now in 2025, so that in 2026, 7, 8, 9, and 10, or going into 30, that we are, ready for that. Yep. Hey, so that's all I got. I'm with you. Let's see what answers we get, and then we're going to have all summer to debate it all. It's going to be, at least it gives us a lot of meat on the bone. It isn't going to be a boring off season. There's a lot to talk about. Hey, man, get those kids off school. Thanks for calling me early in California land. You got it, Johnny boy. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. What a nice guy. Calls all the time. N.E. Davis. Rarely get to watch live. You're a crazy man, but really good at what you do. Stay passionate. I'll take that as a compliment. I did get an email the other day. I'll share this with you, not who it's from. I got an email from a guy that said, I like your show, generally speaking, but I can't stand in the beginning when you do all the stupid noises and the funny faces and the half yells and everything when you're doing your introduction. They said, can you cut that out? I really don't like that part. It's annoying. No, I'm not cutting it out. Do you realize how fun that is for me to just do stupid rhymes and say audio only if you don't want to see my face and have a laugh? I'm sorry, man. That's just what comes out. It was never a plan. That's just when I thought I got to get through these boring introduction things. How do you make it fun? That's what I do. So no, that's not going to change just because one guy emailed saying he doesn't like it. It's like, that's not very professional. Why do you have to do all those silly noises? Because it's fun. How about that for an answer? It's fun. Nikki Dean loves to be heard and seen. Things John is looking for on Saturday. The first Miller Lite. The girl yelling at us all day and the shirtless guy waving his shirt and a warm slice of mushroom pizza. I only want the first part. At least can I have the Miller Lite? You could keep the girl yelling at you to cheer. And you could definitely keep the guy who has a body where no one wants to see him with his shirt off, waving it around, and that gets a louder yell than a play in the football game. When you want to talk about what bothers me with Notre Dame, the fact that one game we did the tailgate, real game, Central Michigan, I think, the girls yelling at you to cheer the whole time. And then I swear to God, that guy takes his shirt off and whips it around and everything's hanging loose and flopping all over the stadium. And more people yelled for that than plays in the game. And it rubbed me the wrong way.
It rubbed me the wrong way. The loudest the crowd consistently yelled all day was when that guy took his shirt off and waved it around like a helicopter, Petey Pablo style. You're old if you get that reference, by the way. If you get that reference, you are old, and I love you for it. You know exactly what I'm talking about with what I just said. Oh, man. (618) and 815 coming up. What's up, 618? Good morning.
Man, long time no hear, long time no call in.
Yeah. What's going on, man?
Man, not much, man. Just sitting back watching everything how it's going, man. But man, if you know, I've been reading different reports, man. That like, and Jelly looked the worst of the three, but it's consistency for Kenny Minchie, man. And you know, just hoping that you know he's the one that's forgotten. Nobody's talking about Minchie right now.
Yeah, man. There's not a lot of information. I really haven't talked to you this spring, but there's been limited access, really limited on what they could do. You're dividing up the reps. Yeah, the O-line's kind of a mess and trying to figure itself out and dealing with injuries. So it's like, you're not getting a lot of information. I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah. The little information that I am getting, I'm hearing that the only situation with Minchie is like, man, his consistency, man. He got to get more consistent. So, you know, same thing we heard about, the same thing we started off with last year with Leonard, man. But, man, I mean, whoever the most consistent Saturday, man, whoever the least, inconsistency, the one quarterback that looked the worst in the spring game, that should be the one that's eliminated. It should be a two-man race going into the fall.
Does your heart and mind lead you to kind of hope it's one of the younger guys, or are you open to Steve if he's the most consistent?
And my heart is with, man, whoever is the most consistent, whoever shows that they can play at this level, man, that's the guy that we want, man. We don't want a guy just because he's a senior or whatever, man. Forget that, man. We want a guy that can make plays. We want the playmaker out there, man. Whoever that playmaker, man, whoever steps up, man, that's the guy that we want to start, man. I'm rooting for Minchie, but man, and I have never showed, I have never hid away from the fact that, man, whoever showed that they're the most consistent, whoever the most inconsistent during the spring game, man, that's the guy that you got to cut loose, man. You got to tell them the truth, man. Whether it's Minchie, Carr, or Jeff, man, like, hey, man, this ain't gonna work out for you.
Yeah, it's and then let me ask you this. You follow the recruiting fairly closely. What do you think of the new operation? I'm hearing it's way more business-like, a more serious professional operation, very direct. And they're finally all in their place and getting things cranked up. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. I've been led to believe Notre Dame recruiting is about to kind of take off in the next month and a week, month and a half. What do you think about the early returns on the Martin regime?
I would definitely get to that because I was listening to Osborne. He had an interview on 3, and he was saying, like, basically, man, it sounded like basically his heart was with Notre Dame, man. He said Michigan was his number one because he was the biggest fan of Michigan. But, man, he said it sounded like his heart is with Notre Dame, and that's where he want to be. Most likely that's where he's going to pick.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hearing we feel good about Dunham tomorrow, and then I'm hearing there's some other targets that are.
I think he's another one.
Yeah,
I think he's another one he's going to wind up picking Notre Dame tomorrow, man. Hopefully we will. I just feel like, man, the recruiting thing. I mean, I like the way that they're going about it with the defensive line, finally, man. And I always thought it was Al Washington, but I'm guessing it was Golden. It was like, oh no, man, we don't need this, we don't need that, man. But really, we did.
Yeah, it's so I don't know. It'd be good if that gets popping here in the summer, and then you hope you can hold the guys that verbal in the class. Any thoughts for blue and gold, man? What are you looking for? Do you expect to learn much? I really don't. I'm tempering my expectations.
I I don't expect to learn much because it's not what we used to say as a blue and gold game. You know, they only playing offense versus defense. But my thing is like, man, let's start ramping up this quarterback competition and man, start the third man, man. We need to let him know, man. Look, you got my blessing to transfer, and it's a two-man horse, whether it's Angelic Carr, Minchie, or however way they want to go it, man, about it. But I think the guy that's the most inconsistent in the game and don't look good, that's the guy that you have to cut loose, man. I don't care which quarterback it is.
You know? Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I think it's all gonna lead to an anxiety-provoking summer. It's great to hear from you again, man. Anything else?
That was it, man. And go Irish, man.
Go Irish, man. Have a good day. Thanks for getting back in the loop. I missed you. 241 calls from that guy. Usually the line's a lot better than that. Mark with glasses. You got A15 coming up. Mark with glasses. You guys are trying to trigger me. John loves the stadium DJ lady that has her microphone turned up twice as loud as it needs to be. I thought maybe I was dreaming that. I thought maybe I was getting old and I'm more like sensitive to loud noises or whatever. I got to tell you, it's really, I mean, let's crank her volume to 50 and have a screaming girl forcing energy that isn't real in a game against Central Michigan or whatever. I can't handle it. She's screaming. Oh, look at the screen. Don't you love Notre Dame? She's screaming it. Son of a buck. It's bad. It's just bad, dude. You know what would get my energy up more? Bring the Rocket out there. Like, you know how they used to do for the 8 minutes NBC TV timeout? They would bring out the old boys or whatever, and then whatever. Bro, just bring Tim Brown out there. Bring the bus out there. Bring whoever you want. And that will give me more energy than that girl screaming at you to get engaged. I need that job. You don't think I could pump up the crowd more than that lady? Can you imagine me having the microphone that echoes through that whole system, that whole stadium? Yeah, that's right. And the whole thing's vibrating. I would forget to turn it off. Something bad would happen in the game, and I'm on there, son of a buck. And it reverberates. 87,975 people can feel me going, son of a buck, 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 buck. And it echoes. But why is that girl yelling, bro? Why is that girl yelling? I'm not exaggerating. It's just not ideal. And I'm very glad that for the playoff, they didn't allow that. There was a much more professional, polished operation. They did not have that going on for the playoff game. Very much appreciated it. Ronald, how do you justify Freeman's fail on the trail? I think we have an obligation to let this new recruiting operation settle into their roles, figure out who's doing what and how we're going to do it. And I feel like you have an obligation to give those guys a chance to prove themselves. And they're what? A month in? Number two, there is no doubt I expected more of the Freeman recruiting by now. Both things could be true at the same time. You got a forced reboot when Chad left town. And now you're doing something new. And I want to see how that group does. But I'm not totally saying Ronald's totally being negative and there's nothing to this. I genuinely thought that the recruiting under Freeman would be higher every year than it's ended up being. And I want to see more out of it. Losing the top end guys out of every class really, really killed you. And I just thought it'd be a little easier for that guy with that personality to get more talent in here. On the flip side, I will say I actually think Freeman has developed into a head coach quicker than the recruiting operation has gotten where I want it to go under Freeman. I think he's doing a better job on the field than the recruiting, but I don't know. 815, welcome to the show. Good morning, sir.
Are you, John?
I'm good, man. I'm waiting for answers I'm not going to get. Like, I don't know. I'm waiting for answers I'm not going to get Saturday, and I don't know what to make of all this. What do you think?
I think everybody's having withdrawals from football season.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Because, we don't have basketball season besides the women's to look forward to. Look, I'm a big lacrosse guy. Lacrosse is not looking too good this year. Hey, it's spring ball. Everybody's, fiending for some college football. And I think it's going to be disappointing at the end of the spring camp and the spring game when there is no announcement of who the starter is, because I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't even think there's going to be a depth chart.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've tempered, my expectations of what I hope to see and figure out Saturday. And I really hope the staff is way further along the line in the process than we realize. Like, I could have comfort with that. Like, do you believe that they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do, but they're playing this out the right way, or what?
I think this is the first time under Freeman's watch, besides, the Buckner year, which I don't necessarily know how much control in the offense he had, because there was stuff, that was more Tommy Reese's operation, since it was Freeman's first year. I think this is his first time where he's actually got to have a say, and who the starting quarterback is. And it's not just a predetermined thing. It's not Riley Leonard. It's not Sam Hartman. You not have a guy in the portal that is going to start.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's figuring out what that process is like. And like someone, the previous caller had said before, he wants a guy to earn the job instead of naming a guy.
Yeah, those are very, very different things. Those are very, very different things. Yes.
Which I love, because, what was it when we had Hartman? I remember we talked about it. Was it really a quarterback battle between Hartman and Buckner? Freeman did the whole coach speak thing like it was. We all knew it wasn't.
Yeah, it never
Hartman was going to get that job.
Yep.
So,
and you know who else knew that? You know who else knew that, by the way, the whole time? Tyler Buckner knew that the whole way, too. So, I mean, that and people are like, why was he checked out and playing bad in the blue and gold game? Well, because the U-Haul was already packed and he was done and over it.
I do think, though, that another reason why we won't have a starter mentioned, just because, for one, I don't think you're going to get a good understanding of how good each of these guys are with the amount of injuries and starters that are not participating in fall camp.
Yeah, it makes it real hard.
On top of that, I do think that it's a transfer thing. If you go out there at the end of spring practice and you say, even if you narrow it down to two, and you say, hey, it's Angeli and Carr, Angeli Minchie, whatever combination you want to use, whoever the odd man out is going to transfer. Or you're at heavy risk for that happening. I don't think Freeman wants that to happen, because we saw last year in instances where Riley got hurt and Angeli had to come in the CFP game, having an experienced backup saved us in that game. I think that you can't, when you have three guys and it's as close as this competition is right now, you cannot risk one of them entering the spring portal.
Yeah. 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 It's but I got people telling me that shouldn't even be a consideration, and it would be irresponsible of the staff to consider all that. And I don't know whether that's like morally right or what. Like, I don't know, but I've heard people be like, they can't worry about a guy transferring order. But isn't that a part of the new modern game, is calculating those risks?
Yep. It's an extra thing that a head coach has to worry about.
Yeah.
You legitimately have, and it's not like a Drew Pine situation or a Tyler Buckner situation where us as fans knew these guys aren't going to have a chance to start. They're not going to be our start. Freeman doesn't know, and he's not, like I said, with all the injuries and stuff, he's not going to get a great idea of how good these guys are. So would you want to risk Angeli transferring, say, to like Rutgers or something, and you throw CJ Carr or Kenny Minchie out there week one on the road against Miami, and it all goes to crap?
Yeah.
Because that's a possibility.
Yeah,
We haven't seen those guys play in game action.
Man, the way I look at it is Angeli, higher floor, lower ceiling. The younger guys, lower floor, higher ceiling. I see that being crystal clear in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, if in my opinion, if it were up to me, I think CJ Carr should get the job. I think that's kind of been, and not an understanding, but just kind of like a common denominator between the fan base since he committed back in 2022. That feeling was, hey, get Hartman out of the way, get through Riley. When Carr's here, it's his job. I'm also fine with Minchie because of the leg aspect.
Yeah.
But just based off of what I've seen, and again, the only real game action we've seen from Carr and Minchie is in a lot of action is the spring game last year. You're going based off the spring game last year, which is going to be irrelevant when we get to this weekend. You just go based off of that. Carr was way better than Minchie in that game. I'm excited to see, because I'll be at the spring game this weekend. I'm excited to see how both of them handle in-game pressure. I'm also excited to see, does Freeman do the thing he did last year where he has all the quarterbacks go live? That's interesting to see, because last year, remember, Riley was the starter, but he was injured, didn't participate. There were no red jerseys. Al Golden was bringing the blitz.
Yeah, that's
I'd like
interesting.
to see how each of the guys handle it.
I wonder if that philosophy changes because they figured Riley Leonard was the starter and he was already out, so that if anybody got hurt, it was going to be the backups. So that's why they did that live. Does this change when you don't know that? Do you get what I'm asking?
Yeah, I think so, but I mean,
yeah.
If you want to get a good idea, right, of two guys that have not played very much in live game action, how else are you going to get them live game action outside of just throwing them out there week one on the road against a top 20 team?
Yeah, the
closest thing you could do is do that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be really, really interesting. It'd be really nice if one of these guys found a way to just kind of move out of the pack and everybody saw it and the decision pretty much makes itself and the other things sort out however they're going to sort out. We'll see, but I think this is leading to a long summer of Notre Dame fans not knowing what's going to happen. Anything on Notre Dame's recruiting? Let's flip over a little bit. I'm hearing maybe some good news, more good news coming, more than just Dunham. I don't know what you're hearing, but I'm hearing that recruiting operation starting to get settled in.
Well, I mean, on the Notre Dame Twitter sphere, it seems like Thursday's the day. Obviously, that's when Dunham commits, that everything's supposed to heat up. I mean, a ton of predictions and crystal balls have went in over the last week for guys like Nick Reddish, Joey O'Brien, who's a big target as well, Braden Robinson, Javian Osborne, Tank King. Like, you got Evan Jacobson and Bubba Frazier. I mean, it's crazy to think that just a month ago, everybody was freaking out, hitting the panic button, even me. So we're like, man, we just played for a national championship. You would think the recruiting wheels would have got this turning a lot sooner.
Yep.
And it was pretty slow. It didn't feel like we had any momentum. I mean, we had a drought from commitments from all the way back, I believe, in December, the day after Christmas, to, whenever Atade committed. I mean, that's a long drought. Everyone else, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, everyone else that was in the playoff was getting commit after commit. So it just kind of felt like we were getting left out. Now it seems like making that championship game, playing in front of all those eyeballs on that platform is now starting to pay off.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it had to do with, our entire recruiting department got blown up. So that took time to get installed and everything like that. On top of that, seems like there's a lot of a different approach this year. They're not trying to get their class done in March and April and May and worry about those kids flipping towards the end. Seems like they're slowing down a little bit, trying to make sure when these kids do commit, they stick.
Yeah. I just think you have no choice. You got to let these guys settle in. And we played the longest season in Notre Dame history. And then you add all the other lag time between Chad leaving and then getting the new operation set up. It just feels like they're trying to play catch up and they're about caught up. And then hopefully we see where we go from there. But I'm excited to hear that they're a little more serious, less on like the cute games and more about the business side of things. I think this program has matured to a point where they can operate that way and make it work. And I want to see how it plays out, but I'm open to this recalibration.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, it seems like it's all working. I mean, Steve Wolfong was, on a show, I believe maybe yesterday, and he said that from everything he's hearing, looking like Notre Dame could have a top 5 class.
Ooh.
Which would do immense things. Immense things. So, I mean, but again, you got to do the on-field product too. You got to show these kids. You can't just rest on your laurels for making that championship game, beating Georgia. You got to prove that you're improving and continuing to improve as a program. And I think kids are starting to see that. So, I mean, I'm excited, man. I mean, Thursday seems like it's going to kick off. This weekend should be fun. I'm excited for all the recruiting stuff. You got the blue and gold game. Notre Dame football is back this weekend. And man, we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're excited for all the content and the debates and everything that we're going to talk about all the way till August 31st about this quarterback competition.
Yep.
I'm excited to see, interested to see all the overreactions from the game Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. Happen. Well, dude, because it's human nature. It's human nature because that's the only really big data point we get. And it's human nature that when you love something that much, you're going to overreact to whatever little bit of information you get to see. And so I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just glad to see some gold helmets run around. What the hell, man? I'm ready for it. And then we'll go from there, man. Hey, thanks for touching base. Appreciate you.
Yep. No problem, man. I might. You're doing a tailgate for the game, right?
Yeah. Look for the flags. I'll be in the stadium lot somewhere, trying to line up near Frank's statue, somewhere in that front stadium lot. I'll have my flags up.
All right, sounds good. I'll stop by.
Yeah, swing by. Have a cold one. Later, man. Oh, look who it is. It's Jack Nicklaus Jr., Pat Cotter in the house. Pat, everybody thought you were dead. Pat needs to realize, literally, people were messaging me, I am concerned that Pat is dead. And then the other theory, Pat, was that you were on vacation taking a sabbatical from the show with West Palm Pat, and you were golfing and debating with WPP. That was my favorite one, Pat. People were literally like, I think Pat is in West Palm Beach playing golf and debating with WPP. 757 talking to you puts me in heaven. Welcome to the show.
Hey, John, how's it going? This is Brendan. Hey, I appreciate the continued. I'm just trying to do my part to support the efforts in the off season. Hey, on the quarterback competition, I don't know if we're necessarily being greedy, but I think there's a lot of value in picking a guy early and committing to him. Regardless of, I think the talent or like the potential outcomes overall for the team, right, aren't all that different. You talk about lower floor or higher ceiling, that kind of discussion. I mean, not all any of the three quarterbacks, right? In my mind, the floor has to be 10 wins with at least one of the wins over A&M and Miami, regardless of who we put out there. If we can't do that, then there's some bigger systemic issues we have a program, given where we're at. So I'd say, playoff hunt with all the quarterbacks, regardless of who you pick. Now, are we going to get a run?
Let's address that. That is a part of what makes me a little more willing to take a little risk with one of the younger guys, is that the program overall is in a really good place. and there's confidence in the stability and the foundation. And like you, even with the change of coordinator, you feel like you should be able to have a good defense on the field again. Like, and there are a lot of parts here that are good enough. And that's a part of my willingness with the timing to go with one of the younger guys is I feel like you kind of have a support system there that can sustain that through the learning curve. Maybe I'm wrong. What do I know?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I guess only the caveat to that was, even if you go with Angeli as the experienced person, the standard is still the same, right? You're still, you need to be in 11-1, 12-0, 10-2 at the floor.
Yeah.
And, going into that, and yes, committing to him now, I'll say that version of Steve Angeli who goes through the summer and gets first team reps and isn't trying to split reps three ways, like, because you don't want to you don't want to lose one of the younger guys. It's like, I think you have to accept, one, you're kind of roping these guys along when you can only start one and have one be a backup, and then if you are in a scenario where it's like, a guy does transfer and there are injuries, like bad luck is the thing, right? Like you can't be, even if you have an ideal roster, if you just get decimated by injury, then, that just like, it's kind of understandable that you might not be 10-2, right? But like, I'd say whoever we pick, the best case scenario is you commit to that person, regardless who it is, early enough so that they can really the team can get behind them. They can get whatever synergy they're going to get with the guys to put you in a good spot for Miami. I really just don't hope they keep it like a three-way-esque competition all throughout summer and into the fall. I think I'd say that's the least good option for the team going forward.
Man, it's just I am not sure whether I and other media members and the fans are overthinking this whole thing, or if everything we're bringing up and analyzing from every way is appropriate to do. Like, I'm starting to think that maybe I'm overthinking it, but I can't help but think of all these dynamics. If you choose this guy, what happens with the other two? If you choose that guy, what happens to the other two? Are you sure you want to do this to risk losing one of those guys? Or should you, do you have an obligation to think about the early tough schedule, or should that not be a part of it all? You pick the best guy, and if it's a young guy and they play two tough teams, get through it. Like, all of these things are in my mind all day, every day.
Yeah. I guess I would just say, I think what most fans would consider the worst case scenario would be we pick Angeli and Carr transfers. I would say even if that happens, then, the program's got to be in a good enough state that we get another recruit, because we'd have Angeli, so long as he does well, right? We had Angeli for 2 years, the team should be successful. And then, one of the next, Hebert or whoever the Grubbs or whoever the guy is after that, like, it's there's never a scenario where you get Tom Brady for 20 years and you win 7 Super Bowls, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to be good at getting young guys and bringing them into the program and having them succeed with little experience. Right. So, I mean, sophomore quarterbacks win big things all the time. And, I think, whatever this perturbation is, it's kind of still a remaining tax from the Hartman and Leonard transfers. And so we got to pay it at some point, and we just need to work through it. I'd say commit to a guy, give him a great chance to do well. And I think overall our program's in a really good spot that we can support, less than A+ quarterback play for a while and be very successful.
Yeah. It's, man, it's just a dynamic that feels so new, because the last couple years you already knew how it was going to go, and then it was just like, how's it going to look with this transfer guy? And like, now we're getting away from that. You have good options here. We feel like some good options, and I don't know. I like to think the staff is a lot further down the road on this than we are, and it's natural that we have these questions, but they have more data and information and maybe an idea. But they're playing it the fair way for everybody to keep everybody engaged. I would like to believe that, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah. Well, John, I've got to go. I really appreciate the show. I love listening in. All the best, and looking forward to the Blue Gold game this weekend.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for holding. I do. I very much appreciate it. All right, you guys, I hate to do this. But I gotta get to my blue and gold thing and then get out of here a little early. There's a couple more callers. I'm just not going to be able to do it today. I'm sorry about that. We had some good callers. Get with me. The callers that couldn't get on, get with me. after. Get with me after the game and you can have all that time. I feel bad doing that. I just have a couple appointments and things I need to do. So let's get into real quickly. Flip to blue and gold. We're going to end on this. I'm just going to do a little information on what I'm looking at and see if you guys agree or not. You know the roster's limited. You know the format is limited. It isn't. I'm not leaving quite yet. I just can't take any more calls. Stick around, son of a buck. You know the roster's limited. You know the format. It isn't even drafts, but it's just O versus D, whatever. You're totally limited. O-line, whatever. You're going to have walk-ons, all that kind of stuff. So what can you really hope to see and find out? The more blue and golds that I see, the easier it becomes to know kind of what matters and what doesn't matter and what to watch for. No injuries is the number one thing always. This program just can't afford it, bro. I love debating. What do you mean BVG should be coach? Call after the game then. I'm sorry. No injuries is number one. I just can't. You can't afford it. You can't do it. You can't have it. They're already struggling in that area. That's always the blanket number one thing. And so that always keep that in mind. Listen, it is crystal clear to me the staff is looking at this as let's just get through it. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I just get this vibe that they're kind of over it. They're really limited and they're just so limited with bodies. I think they're all ready for this to just be over. And I don't fault them for that. They got to be frustrated with all the physical limitations with the roster and whatever. And I understand that. So that's the vibe, man. It feels very much like they just want to get through this. Number one, the quarterback's the most obvious piece. What do you hope to learn? Oh, man, people are talking about Pat's old birthday parties. The Jersey party was a particularly interesting affair. Wow, for what I remember. The QBs. Here's the thing, man. What do you hope to learn? I guess you hope somebody never misses a throw and runs circles around everybody else, and it just becomes obvious that they're the number one guy, and then that's what's in our heads all off season. Like, I don't know, but is that realistic to think you could get out of the way they're setting this up? I don't know. How are these reps going to be split between the three guys when it's just offense, defense, and the number one O-line is the number 3 O-line because of all the injuries? What are we going to do? Who takes advantage? Does it even matter that much? How much did the staff value this data? I don't know. It just feels like a required inconvenience this year because of all the weird dynamics. And I think it's a year where Freeman was honest. They'd rather not play this, but they have an obligation to do it. And I wouldn't say that if you were relatively healthy, but you're just not. So that would be on the high end. You would hope one of these guys is just whipping the ball all over. And when they run, nobody touches them. And they just look like number one. That's about as good as you could ask. That's about as much as you could ask for in this situation. So I expect to not get as much information as you want. That's what I expect. Not to get as much information as you want. And if we do, I'll be happy about it. How about we move over to the defense? Some interesting stuff coming out. Expect a lot more zone than you got from Al Golden this year with Ash. That's the overall theme, is that they're going to be more comfortable playing zone. A more slightly simplified version of the defense that gets guys to just react more than think and react. And I know Snead was talking about a more aggressive downhill approach to stopping the running game and shooting gaps. Mike Goolsby always complains about the second layer of the defense catching ball carriers rather than going downhill and hitting them there, but more catching. And he didn't like that. Snead literally brought up last week. He said, I feel like we're going to be able to fly downhill more and be more aggressive and free us up to not think as much and just react and do. I'm interested in that. I'm really interested in that. You have some key roles to fill on that D line and then back in the secondary. But I'm interested. If they mix that up a little bit, could the defense actually get better? I don't know. And then with all of this, how much of it's going to be obvious of what you're going to be able to see in this moment, in this game? I don't know. I don't know. How put together does that defense all look in the blue and gold? Is it even going to be easy to tell? I don't know. I'm sure Goolsby will be looking at it a different way than me with his playing experience, obviously, and I'll be excited to know what he thinks. So that's with quarterbacks, defense. Forget O-line. I'm not even going to mention it. Like, what? I don't even know what to say, man. They're banged up. They got guys moving around, guys still getting healthy, other guys getting hurt, other guys that are in high school and not here yet. I don't know. You're not going to get answers till August. You ain't going to get answers till August. Number 3, young guys. If you want to find a positive spin on some of the limitations this spring, here it is. You're going to have some second and third string guys and young guys that are going to get a lot of run. They're going to get a lot of run. It's very realistic to hope you see a few of these guys that were buried on the depth chart, or it's their first year in here at Notre Dame or whatever, who can flash and earn some snaps. Even if it's just, I'm an early enrollee and I'm a younger guy and I'm not fully, what I'm going to end up being or whatever. But can you get in on special teams? Can you do enough and prove with a couple big hits or whatever good that you could get in on kick coverages to find the field? Like whatever. I don't know. But if you want to find one positive from all of the extreme limitations of this spring, the one positive is a lot of backup guys and young guys are going to get a chance in this game. Maybe you can earn yourself some snaps. If I'm those guys in that camp, third, fourth string guy, early enrollee, whatever, year 2 in the program, but year 1, I didn't do much, Cam Williams, right? Something like that. Man, this is a good day for you. This is a good day for you because the staff is forced to let you play. And so this is an opportunity for all those guys to be able to seize some snaps this year. So I always look for that with young guys and backups. The next thing, anything that stands out athletically, speed around the edge, that it's just obvious a guy's burning everybody. Big hits, joystick hits where somebody's knocking the crap out of somebody. Athletic plays like J Love jumping over everybody, like whatever. That stuff stands out to you in a blue and gold game. When you see a guy with speed that looks different than everybody else out there and they go around the corner and burn you, like you know what that looks like. So I'm looking for those flashes, speed, big hits, athletic plays, that kind of stuff. The big boomstick, whatever. I'm not talking about you, Pat. The big boomstick, like whatever, right? So any of that stuff would be good. Just find a way to find more guys that could contribute to this team. You're going to have more chances. Yeah, if Cam doesn't break out in 25, when? It's a good question. I don't want him to be a forgotten man. I like his athletic traits and everything. Can we get it out there? Let's get it going. Number 5. This game's going to be entertaining because we want any Notre Dame football we could get. We want any Notre Dame football you could get. And any of it, even limited, is better than nothing. So you're going to like it because it's all you got. It's all you got. But I still maintain this program has a lot to figure out in August. There's no way around it. They have a lot to figure out in August, and there's no shortcuts. You get just as much time in August as everybody else, and you're just going to have to crunch it all into a month. I don't know what else to say. You're just going to have to crunch it all into a month, man. You got to figure out who your O-line is. You got to figure out who the starter is. And then you got a week and a half basically for them to try and all work together in a game plan before you get into Miami. Is it ideal? No, that's not an ideal setup, but it's just where we're at. It's just where we're at. So my thing the whole time is chaos in the beginning of August, because you're just not going to get answers. You're going to see some things you like to see or whatever, but you're not going to get a lot of answers. And you got to go into this game openly accepting that. You got to just openly accept you're not going to leave with the closure you seek. You're just not. It's not physically possible for you to leave with the closure you want to have. John, over under for Miller's consumed. Under. And the reason I'm saying under is doing a post-game show after, I need to make sure I'm in a good spot for that. So it's going to be under for me because I have content obligations after the game. So it's going to be under. I mean, 6 ain't no big deal, but it isn't going to be 26. You know what I mean? Like, I have professional obligations here. So we're going to enjoy the Miller Lite for breakfast, but we're not going to overdo it. Even with the game in between, I want to make sure we're in a good spot to do the post-game show. So the final thing is the staff needs to be very organized for what's coming in August. This is the final thing here. The staff needs to be very, very particular about how they're going to run August camp. And the good news is you got all the summer to be able to figure it out. But when we get into August, every single snap and every single minute needs to be accounted for with a priority and a checklist of things you want to do. There is no time to waste for this program when you get into August. So you're going to look at whatever you have for Blue and Gold, all this information, and they need to be really good and precise at coordinating exactly how they want to run this when we finally get back. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. So I need them to be very, very organized because you are going from 0 to 100. Nothing all summer, maybe a recruit here and there, whatever, nothing. And then 100 miles an hour, you're running into Miami. So that's my big takeaway. I'm predicting not a lot of answers in Blue and Gold. August, early camp chaos. And they got to be real on top of it. And real precise. My main man, Martinez, not having a show Friday because I'll be driving to Notre Dame that morning. So not going to have a show then. I want a 28 waist like John. I'll have you know, I've gained like 30 pounds since the season, bro. All that stress and Notre Dame anxiety, I'm back up to where like a non-dead person's body weight should be. Literally, I've gained like 30 pounds since the beginning, like the middle of the football season. Which for a lot of people would make them like overweight. For me, that puts me in the non-death range for my skeleton carcass. All right, I love you guys. I like the energy this week heading into the game and everything. I really appreciate everybody being here. I'm really sorry I wasn't able to take more calls. I'll have maybe 1 or 2 videos for you tomorrow, maybe 1 in the morning, and then maybe 1 for the recruit if he picks Notre Dame. But I love you guys, and I'll see you in town for Blue and Gold. Holler at your boy.